Hi everyone, Gaye DeRusso with Majestic Rider here today on Remi. We're taking him out on the trail. I've done this short little going by the pasture with him, but I have not taken him on a real trail ride by himself, and that's what I'm planning on doing today. So I prepared him, I lunged him first, but he was pretty quiet. He gets quieter every day since I've been working him. So I didn't have to do a ton, and we'll just see how he does. So from the time that she's had him, she said she hasn't really ridden him alone, which is 2 years. So I expect he might have some issues as we're going out here. He's a quiet horse, but he's not overly confident. So I want to have short reins and be here for him so he has someone to depend on. And I've built the relationship by doing all the groundwork and the arena work with him. Okay, so that's usually very helpful, so they know that you know the right answers and to look for you when they're nervous or scared. So he doesn't have shoes on, and his boots are too big. They got a new trimmer and his feet are much smaller now. So he is a little bit trippy. It's because he's sore, but I don't want to put those boots on because he's more likely to trip with those things on versus just his own feet being sore. So once we get off of this stuff, he'll be fine because it's mostly just sand out here. But here it's branches and stuff. And if you have a barefoot horse and it keeps tripping, a lot of times people don't know they're sore. See, he just hit his foot there. But it's just like when you're walking on gravel or rocks barefoot and you're like, ow, 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 ow. And you trip and you jump and you do all these things. Now there's plastic waving around here. So I'm just taking a hold of him. And I have a stick and I just tapped him with the stick. Now he spooked, so I'm not going to let him spook. Now it wasn't bad. He jumped in place. A lot of people would be like, who cares? Just keep going. No, I want to build his confidence, so I want him to learn to look at things and evaluate them. And again, they got to look out of the sides of their head, so he's got to turn his head back and forth to see what it really is. And we bug sprayed him, but it didn't help. Now there's sprinklers up here too. And that's a little bit new, even if he was ridden here before. They don't always have the sprinklers on. So I want to ride him out with some energy because I know he's going to suck back once he gets up here. So I'm trying to push him forward. And that's why I always bring a stick, just to help me motivate them. So you might be able to hear the sprinklers. So he's a little snorty, so that tells me he's nervous. So I'm shortening up a little bit more. Now I just have light contact. I know he's nervous. We're going over these hose things. But he's trusting me so far, and he's just going along. He's quite a good horse. Just had some trust issues, and I think not enough work. And he didn't have a basic foundation, which he does now. So I've done all that stuff for him, and now it's just putting the miles on, and good miles, and helping him get through stuff. Okay. So I am having to push him. If they're nervous, you don't want them to go really slow. You want them to move their feet and get that nervous energy out. Otherwise, they're saving it up for a spook. Now he likes to stop and go to the bathroom. I prefer not to, because if somebody's going to show or anything, or they're nervous, I'm trying to get them going forward. So we got some step ups. Now he went up the step up just fine. Now if he tripped up those, that could be a proprioception problem. But he went up them just fine, and he was tripping on the flat where it was rocky and where the footing was hard. So that tells you your horse's feet are sore. Even if they have boots on, sometimes it's not enough support and you got to get different boots or put cushions in the boots. All right. So besides just riding them out on the trail, I'm going to teach you. So we were talking about engagement, which means riding the horse from the back to the front. That means driving their back end underneath them and then containing it lightly with your hands. The trail is a place that's great to work on engagement because you got hills out here. So I'm trying to make him a little bit more nervous of me than where he's going. So I'm trying to push him underneath himself. Side steering. and get him going forward a little bit, and then capture that energy with my fingers very lightly, and then trying to bring his head down slightly so it's more in a neutral head position. I don't want it way on the ground, especially since this is his first ride. He'd be spookier and more likely to spook and take off because I wouldn't have no reins. But it also makes them heavier on the front end, and you really got to be careful with walking horses with doing that, because they're built with big chest many times and not the biggest hindquarters, and they can get very heavy on the front end, and then they're kind and slow, and so when they trip they sometimes just wobble over. But if you ride them right, many of those issues just go away. So run him with some energy. Try to do a flat walk when you're going out. You don't want to run either. You just want to go out with some energy. Keep your hands wide, keep your body position up, act like you're a strong leader, and breathe. Breathing is very important, because if you're holding your breath, they know you're nervous, because that's what they do when they're scared. They turn into statues and hold their breath. So I am having to push him. And although he's doing well, he's telling me he needs a leader that takes charge, otherwise he might not go. Okay, nothing bad, but that's what I feel underneath me, that he needs someone who's in control and is going to help him and tell him what to do, because he's just unsure. So once you're out here, give him little jobs to do. I always say that. And I hardly see anybody do it when I ride with them on the trail. So give him a job here and there. So a little leg yield, like yield off my left leg yield off my right leg. Now I'm going to leave him alone for a little bit. Now I don't let them look all over the place, especially the spooky ones, because they're going to find something to spook at. You're trying to turn your gaited horse into a quarter horse where it's stiffer and straighter, because these guys can be wobbly and they can look all over the place. And a lot of times that causes them to trip. So ride with some contact. You'll see in the camera it always looks funny, okay? But my hands, well, see, he's trying to go to the bathroom again. So now I'm tapping. I'm like, no, we're not going to stop 20 times to go to the bathroom, because that's how you fall behind people, okay? And then the horse gets nervous and wants to run up. Just make them walk. They can walk and poop, unless they have diarrhea, then that's different. But I want his head low, but not super low. And in time, once he's comfortable, if it was up here more, I wouldn't care. That would be fine. But when they're nervous, it's better to have a lower head set, because it brings their adrenaline down. It's a calmness state. So if you can get that horse's head down and neck relaxed, it's going to help you a lot. So he's tending to pace down the hill. Many do. He doesn't know how to get down it. I think this is funny for a trail horse. But he tried to go off on the side, and I said, no, you can do this, by just blocking him, and I made him go down that. And I'm checking just to make sure the saddle's not pinching or anything, because that can also cause a problem. If your saddle's too tight up on the shoulders or the neck, they sometimes don't want to go down things. Mine's fine, but they sometimes don't want to go down things, and it makes them pacey, so it does two bad things. Okay, so if your horse keeps pacing or it's having problems going downhill, check it, as you're going down the hill, or once you get to the bottom, or you're at the top, and see if it's too tight or if it's sitting down on their withers. Yeah, I know. All right, so now he's moving out a little bit better, and I don't know if she rides hills, so maybe he hasn't been on a lot of hills, but he needs it for his top line. If you saw his pictures, he has a little bit of a bad top line. Now that's sometimes because they're being ridden inverted or strung out, or their saddle doesn't fit and it's pinching their back, and so they won't use their muscles, or they never developed them correctly when they were younger. It can be any of those things. And they need the nutrition to build it back up. So we're trying to build it back up. But you also have to feed the right amino acids to have it come back up. All right. So again, I want to get rid of some of the energy. We're going out, and I don't want that energy coming back if he's nervous. So he did a little trip there, but not bad. So here I can get him to drive with this at back end. Keep his head down. Make him use his back end. He's telling me he totally does not know how to do this. If you saw, he sucked way back there like, what? So he's used to pulling himself up the hills, not pushing. And we want him to push. We want that back end stronger. We want him to raise his back up, create better muscles. Okay? Then he'll have an easier time going down the hill as well. But he just doesn't know how to fluidly do it. And there we went down another hill, and he shortened his stride up and just paced down the hill. So he really doesn't totally understand how to use his body going up and down the hills. So now we're going downhill. I'm trying to get him to stretch out a little bit. But you saw something there, made his foot a little sore. So on the downhill, I want him to use his back and stomach muscles differently than he's doing. And here, this is going uphill a little bit. I'm going to try to push him a little faster and get him to drive with his back end, so he starts understanding how to use his body better. And this also wears your horse out. It makes him think, but it gets rid of energy because it's like lifting weights. And so when they see things on the trail, since they've already worked their brain and their muscles, they're less likely to care. Remember, tired horses really don't care about that much. But spunky, energized horses that haven't worked much or have no guidance, they care about everything. Okay, so his head's a little up and we're going downhill, so I want a little lower. And now he's starting to waddle. So he's starting to pace, because that's what it feels like. You kind of waddle back and forth. So in the video, maybe you'll see his head. Now, see how he keeps going off the trail? He's like, I don't know how to go down this in a straight line. So all those things that were a little bit of an issue in the arena now are really coming out, because he can go much straighter than that. But it's every time we go downhill, he looks like I don't know where to go. So when you're trying to get the horses to go out alone, some are like this. They just need a push, and they're not that bad, but they're going to test you. So you got to be prepared. If you don't have your stick and you're not a strong rider, you might not get them out there where we could. Okay, we're going to make them drive up this too. And some are going to be horrible. They're going to rear up and do all sorts of scary stuff. So you have to decide what you can deal with and how much you can help them. I tend to hand walk them all out here so I can see what they're like and how scared they are with me on the ground. If they're paranoid with me on the ground, well, they're going to be worse with me on their back. Okay, so those I choose to hand walk for a while and ride with other people. And then if they're not that bad with me hand walking them, I know they're not going to be too bad under saddle. Okay. So he's in shape, but he's not in great shape. So we're going to stop here for today. Okay, and then we're going to go back. Now, you'll see his head is up. So I'm going to put a little pressure to bring it down. There we go. Now, he can look around as long as he stays calm. So I'm just going to stand here and rest. And we're going to give him a little treat. And he's like, treat? But overall, he did really well for going out alone. So he's nervous and he needs help, but he's not a real spooky horse, at least so far. Now, we'll see when we turn around how anxious he is for going home. But he's standing very well for being out here by himself the first time. So I always, when I'm standing, I face away from home. If you face towards home, it's too much of a temptation. A lot of times they won't stand still. It doesn't matter if you're 20 miles from home. If you know which way is home, don't stand facing that way, because the horses know. All right, so we turned around, didn't get fast at all. So we'll see if he stays like this the whole ride. So what I'm going to try and do is guide him down this hill, and then I might serpentine if he's having problems. So he's starting to tense up already. Go boy. Now I just tried to stop and he went sideways. So he really doesn't know how to get under himself. Oh. So you'll see I'm starting to stop and then I go off because he can't hold himself straight. Oh, good boy. So this is just the start of the process. He can't do it. I can already feel that he can't. Oh, good boy. So I'm just trying to teach him how to get down the hill properly without going sideways. And he listened to me, and remember, it's all about the try. Because again, a lot of times they can't do it in the beginning. They just can't. But if you reward the try, they'll try harder every single time. If you don't reward the try, or you're not paying attention because you're talking to your friends, well, guess what? They're never going to get better. Never. Never, ever. So, he's doing really well. I have a very light contact. I'm hardly touching with my fingers, and he's keeping his head down, and he's starting to drive with his back end. So very good. But he has more motivation also because we're going home. But to me, his feet are still sore. I don't feel like it's anything else. I don't think he has a problem. I just think his feet are sore. And also because I did those poles, I started to see also his coordination, how it was. And he did pretty good, but it's not the best. So the pole work will help him a lot. If you remember Tilly, she was quite spastic with the poles, would leap over them for like 5 feet away, scramble. She was anxious. And now she's quite sure-footed with those poles. They helped her canter a lot. Her gaits are smoother, and she's more sure-footed on the trail. And she was 15 when I started her pole work. Okay? This guy, I think, is 12 or 13. Good job. So he's got a nice walk. I don't think this is too fast. It's not really a flat walk, but it's a little bit more than a trail walk. Good job. So again, if he puts his head down, I'm just following with my hands. I'm pushing my hands forward, but I'm not going to let him be on a loose, floppy rein, especially since he's trippy because he's barefoot out here. So if he trips, I want to help him catch himself, okay? Because his coordination is good, but he doesn't have the coordination of like a Rocky Mountain horse, okay? Those horses are short-strided. This is a long-strided horse. He's bigger. You've seen big people. They're not always as agile. So big horse, walking horse, quiet temperament when he's not scared, all those things are going to make him trip bigger and harder. So I just got to help him. And again, walking horses are my favorite. Okay, so this is a hill. He's starting to pace, so I'm going to stop. Now he's going a little crooked. Good boy. So you see, I only paused for like a second. His hindquarter's going to the right, so I'm trying to push it straight. And when I backed him up in the arena, he backed up real crooked in the beginning. That tells me they're weak on one side. Hear him? Now you stop talking. So I got my weight back, and I'm just teaching him to go down slow, not to pace. Okay? So anytime you see his head kind of going side to side or the camera's going side to side, he's going more towards a pace, but he's not hard pacing. So now I'm on the flatter part, and I'm still going slow because it's still going downhill. This is a workout. We're trying to teach him how to use his body. Good job, buddy. The better he knows how to use his body, the more confident he will be out on trail. Okay, now we're better. But if they're not naturally athletic and they don't know how to use their body, they get very nervous on trail, and sometimes that's the whole reason they're nervous, is just because they're afraid to carry you because they think they're gonna drop you, you're gonna get mad at them, and they're such a sensitive horse. So you got to do little tester rides, build up their confidence, build up their athleticism, and get them better. Don't take them on a 3-hour hard ride jumping up and down stuff when they're not in good shape or they don't know how to carry a person well. Okay? So when you're having problems with your horse, you got to think about everything. Think about how much they're being worked, where are they being kept, what are they being fed, who are you riding with, are you riding along? Is this a confident horse or not a confident horse? Are you helping them or making it harder? Are your reins too loose or are they too tight? Okay? Does the horses know the basics of training? Does it have all that arena work? That's why I did all this first, so I could communicate to him, so he knows and understands when I ask him to slow down, when I ask him to speed up, and when I ask him to go straight with his body or to move sideways. He now understands those cues. So he's ahead of the game now. Now we're going over branches and step-ups right here. Now he got a little stuck in there, but he didn't trip. The horse is a tripper. They'll trip over that stuff. So you're trying to make sure you can communicate. You got the basics on the horse, because a lot of times that's, if you just go through the list of what I just gave, you'll figure out the problem. And these are the problems. One, the horse is stalled all by himself. So the horse gets freaked out when he sees other horses. Okay? Two, the horse is not getting work, so he's saving up all that energy. So when he gets scared, he's explosive instead of just spooking in place, because he's not getting rid of that energy. Three, they don't understand your communication. So when you ask them to slow down or speed up, they don't get it. They don't know how to move sideways. They don't know a one-range strop or anything like disengaging the hindquarters, and those things all help you on trail and prevent bucking and rearing instead of just trying to hang on. So you're trying to make sure all those things are done ahead of time and you know what to do. So when you go out there, you're like, oh, he's going to try and rear up. I'm just going to do my disengage the hindquarters a bunch of times and go forward. And what do you know? You don't want to rear up anymore, because now we're moving. So there's many things. Not that I've seen many trainers train horses and not ask one of those darn questions, and the horses go back home and fail, because it's many things come into play. Okay? If you don't ask the questions, you don't really know. It might sure look fine on the video like you fixed the problem, but did you really fix the problem? And was the problem the horse at all, or was it just the owner and where they're keeping the horse and what they're feeding it? So much better that time. It's not steep, but it's downhill. He's still a little pacey. He's still drifting to the right, but it was better. Good job, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. So if you ride on the flat, riding on hills is going to be difficult for your horse. Or if your horse comes from someplace that's just flat, they're going to have a problem usually when they show up, because they're not used to it. They might wobble, they might trip, they might fall down. You got to build them up, condition them. Now it gets narrow in here. So hear me breathe. I'm trying to be like, you're okay, buddy, because I'm talking. Good job. But when you get in narrow spots, you try to stay as still as you can, because you don't want to throw them off balance. Now he's pacing a little bit in here. Easy. Good job. Good job. Oh boy. And he's got big feet. So a big horse with big feet going through a tiny little thing is very difficult. Okay? And if they don't know how to step one foot in front of the other, like tightrope walk when they need to, it's much harder. Those tightrope and horses can get through anything. One that walks correctly or has a wider stance is going to have more issues with those things if nobody taught them how to go through them and they haven't practiced. Okay. So he's doing good. He's still waddling a little bit. I'm hoping that's going to go away. Time. Now you'll see the barn appearing. Now he's not waddling as much. Here we go down the step down. So these are all tests. Now that is not good. So he threw himself down. So I'm going to get him on his hind quarter. I'm half halting. I'm sitting back. Easy. Good job. Now we got one more. Easy. Easy. Now he's standing right at the edge. Good boy. So I got all his weight on his back end going down that, because what he did is he just got there and threw his front end off. You want them under themselves when they're going down, things like that. And how do they learn that? They either naturally do it or you got to teach it. And he does not naturally do it. Okay. Now, he's still a little pacey. Now we got sand. We got no step downs. So that serpentine I taught him in the arena, I'm going to do that. Because I'm trying to help him separate his legs so he can walk better. And to learn, he doesn't have to be so lateral. He doesn't have to be so pacey. He can be diagonal. And the diagonal is much better. Because this horse can trot and pace when he's loose. So he can do both. He's just, when you're on riding him, he tends to go more towards a pace. So he's got, that's another little step down right there. But he didn't throw himself down it. So even an older horse, you can teach to be more balanced, because sometimes nobody's ever taught them and they just don't know, and people have run them around and they just kind of get by. But there is a better way, and it's better for the horse and it's better for the rider, and it'll make the horse feel more confident and secure carrying you if it knows what to do. Now he's in the leaves and that just scared him. No big deal. And the scarecrow thing's coming up right here. See his face? I gotcha. Then the sprinklers. You're okay. Now he's looking. Now he just pulled on me. So breathe. Keep your reins short. I want to make him brave. So he didn't want to look before. Now he's looking. So this is good. This is an improvement. He's got to turn his head side to side, but you'll see my reins are super short in case he decided to take off or the sprinkler hits that damn thing. Good boy. He's still looking. So you stay calm, leg off, you're sitting back. Okay, you can go. No. So see how he doesn't know what to do now? Now see him dancing? Now he took me for this whole ride. So here we go. Stay. Treat him just like a dog. He's afraid to have that thing go behind him. I can tell. So now that I'm on the ground, he knows I could possibly die instead of him. So that'll make him feel better. I'm hooking this to his halter, so I'm not yanking on his mouth. And we're going to go by it together, because again, there's stuff on the ground, there's all sorts of stuff. Stay. So I got with my stick to stay back. So I'm doing this so you can see. Good boy. So he doesn't understand that scarecrow thing. No big deal. And he's got sprinklers. So why did I get off? Because he took me that whole ride, not being out by himself for 2 years. Good job. And did really well. Good boy. So I'm teaching it. He can't rush by it. He can look at it. He can breathe. I'm right here. Good job, buddy. Good boy. There you go. So I got to be like the head mare. Like, don't worry. It's not a big deal. We don't need to run. Now I'm walking in these tube things. I don't care about those at all. Good boy. So all that groundwork, like staying back when I'm waving this stick at your face, is letting me walk backwards and show you him. Otherwise, he might, you know, come running over the top of me. Hey, hey. So anytime he gets close, I'm getting him back. Hey, this is the horse that was afraid of whips. Good job. Good job. See? He's pretty good with whips now. Okay. So overall, I think he did great. And I'm going to take him back and tie him up. Ride the bike and stuff around him because he's getting used to that stuff. I've gotten him used to the bike, the baby carriage, walking stick, all that stuff. He's getting a little close. This is good. Hey, horse afraid of stick won't move off the stick now, huh? So I want to just say, think about it, realize you can't rush home. Tying them up is a good thing. They learn patience, and then they learn when they get home, it's not immediate freedom. So sometimes just tying your horse up when you get back fixes the problem. You want to conquer any problems you're having with your horse. You want to look at the big picture, write everything down that I went through just before, and then see where your holes are. Because I can tell you, there's a lot of holes in many gaited horses. A lot of times they just have no clue. They have no mileage because they're so calm, no clue what to do. They don't understand cues at all. They don't, half the time, don't even understand the bid. It keeps me busy, and it makes me very sad for the horses. Now this is where the plastic was flapping before when we left. Do you see? He's like, over there? Yeah, over there. So he doesn't care so much now, but I still want him to take a look because we have to pass this every day. So every day I'm not going to let him look at that. No, we take a good look and then we have to go. Okay? Hey. So even though he's sweet and kind, he can't walk faster than me and he can't get ahead of me. And he's got to respect my space no matter what. That way you'll always be safe, even if your horse is upset and having problems. But if you let them trample on you, they will trample on you. All right, so that's Remi in a nutshell, his first ride alone with me, real ride. We've done little ones around the barn and stuff, because again, I always do it in stages. So again, this is what I did with him. Groundwork, arena work, went around the barn, did that straight trail, and then today I took him all the way out on the trail by himself. So I prepared him, I communicated with him, built up his trust, and then said, come on, let's go do it. And now we'll be riding the trail, still doing the arena once or twice a week. The rest will be on trail, doing different obstacles, riding alone, riding with other horses, separating from other horses, and just trying to build his confidence in his rider. And then it's not magic. The rider has to learn how to do it, how to keep him up, keep him calm, and his brain power in check, and also to make sure his energy's worn off before she rides him, and to keep desensitizing him with the ropes and the stick. Because again, he's 12 or 13. It took that many years to get that bad. It's going to take many, many years to make it that good. Well, hope that helps.